Taylor Wallace hanging out here back in my kitchen for our latest KUTX at home session, and I am overjoyed to be joined by two members of one of my favorite Austin bands, Holy Wave. I've got Kyle Hager and Ryan Fuson here hanging out with me, and I've got my late night TV host prop here. We're talking about the new album Interloper, which, like I just told Kyle and Ryan, I bought literally the day it came out, halfway through my first full listen of the album. And it's I had to pull the record off of my record player because it's just been every time I listen to a record, it's been on my record player for, I think it's been out for 2 weeks now. Yeah.
About 2 weeks. Yeah.
And so you were just telling me right before we started recording that y'all have been getting a really great response. I'd love to hear more about that.
Well, I mean, we just from a lot of people that, we've met throughout the years touring and promoters and friends and everyone has reached out to us individually and had stories, where they just say a lot of nice things. And, it's like one of those things that you don't really I guess you don't really know that you sometimes need until you get it. And you're like, oh yeah, that's so affirming of everything we've been sitting on for a year now or something,
Yeah, and I'm curious. So when the album came out just a couple of weeks ago, but y'all were set to kick off a tour back in March, literally a week before all of this ish hit the fan. And did y'all get to play the first 2 dates of that tour before everything got canceled?
3 dates.
I'd like to hear more about your experience, with having this tour and it being canceled 3 dates in, right before all the South by dates, right?
Yeah. It was well, Kyle, were you gonna say something?
We were in Chicago. We played Rock Island and we played Springfield, Missouri on the way up. And then the Melted Festival got canceled. So we still went up to our show in Chicago, even though we weren't going to play Melted on the way home. And on our way to Chicago, the NBA stopped playing games. Everything started getting shut down. The people were starting to close cities down. And we were like...
Schools are getting closed down.
Yeah, we were already almost to Chicago. So it was kind of let's just go see if the show is going to happen kind of thing.
Uh-huh.
And in the last show that we got to play, the last show, a lot of people in Chicago even got to go to. And then we just drove straight home all the way from Chicago, hoping the city wouldn't be locked by the time we got here.
They're like, no, you can't come in.
Honestly, it was also weird too. It was weird on so many levels because it was really we were in Chicago or the Midwest area when things were really going wild. There was so much uncertainty in the air, and not just that, but I don't know, for people that maybe don't travel very often, when you travel, especially in tight spaces with people for a while, after the first few days, sometimes you're introduced to new environments and sometimes you get allergies or something. And in the midst of a pandemic, you start looking at each other and you're in the van coughing. You're like, wait a second, do we all have corona right now? Or our heads are just I could tell we were all in a place for a while there. On our way back home, coming back to our friends and family, we're like, well, did we just all get this virus? Do we not want to give it to anyone? What do we do? And it was a strange time.
So did y'all self quarantine for a couple of weeks or?
Yeah, well, when we got back, yeah, I mean, yeah, and we ended up, none of us ended up having it. We were as soon as we got back into the Austin climate, we were just completely fine. It was just, I think it was just I don't know.
Well, you can't help it. I mean, that was when we knew nothing about how it spread or what the symptoms were. So, I mean, it's hard to not, when you're, and y'all are traveling by car, it's hard to not feel it's this acute OCD kind of that sets in. And you're everything is wrong right now.
You can convince yourself of a lot of things. Yeah. If you're bored, you know what I mean?
I remember Joey looked at me in the van one time. He was like, you feel it, right? That's coronavirus. I was like, no.
You're like, no, I don't do this to me.
Yeah. We went, our friends in Chicago took us to this diner on our day that we were coming back home. And it was this local diner that had been around their neighborhood for years. And everyone, the lady serving us was she wasn't wearing gloves. She's like, oh, this freaking coronavirus is going to be done in a day. And she's they're joking about it. And 3 weeks ago, they got shut down. It was just geez, the world has changed so much since then.
It's crazy. And I was reading last night that the new face covering law and everything is through November 12th.
Oh, I mean, that's good.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, it officially means I'll be celebrating my 30th birthday in quarantine, which is totally fine. I'll just throw a rager for my 31st when we're all vaccinated.
That's what I'm at the point now where it's like everyone like hold out, because I think 2021 is going to be a really cool year for a lot of us.
Man, I hope so. I hope so.
Yeah.
I feel like we've been saying that for the last 4 years. And it just keeps getting worse. But I'm with you, Ryan. I'm holding out hope too.
Yeah.
So I want to talk about Interloper, and so the singles that kind of breadcrumbed out before the album came out were all just wild. The first time I heard the title track Interloper, I mean first of all, like KUTX, we just released our individual like top 3 songs of 2020, and Interloper was one of my was
awesome.
one I
Thank
picked. You. Yeah. Oh, of course. Thanks for you made it real easy. The hardest part was picking which track, so I just went with the one that we're playing on the air.
Yeah,
but
that's a great song.
From the first note, it's an incredible song. Like it's this one note, this like pregnant note that sets the tone, and you're like, what? And then it just takes you on this dive of like, it's like Pink Floyd and Magical Mystery Tour together, but in Holy Wave.
We also kind of I don't think we really achieved this goal as much as we wanted to, but I think it's a goal for us that we're probably going to always kind of chase around. But we wanted to have some kind of like some kind of like dub element to a song, and that was kind of the song that we kind of just like took a modest attempt at. But I think that it's a theme that's probably going to recur often with us.
We all could just pull a Krungbin and just remake this same record, but in dub style.
That would be they're a lot better than we are.
I'd put y'all on a bill together.
That would be awesome, man.
Which actually, y'all have shared a festival bill before. You guys played Desert Days back in 2017, the same year Krungbin did, and I'd love to hear about that. I mean, first of all, like it was the same year that Ty Segall, Courtney Barnett, and Kurt Vile, John Cale, Iggy Pop, Lee Fields, and the Expressions, and y'all were on this festival bill with them.
Yeah.
Please tell me all about it.
That was awesome. And not just that, but our buddies in Froth were there. We got to hang out with them. Ariel Pink played it. It was, I mean, for us, it was crazy because it was like a stop in the middle of this tour. We get 2 days hanging out with our friends. We saw Ariel Pink. I saw Lee Fields. A lot of the bands you're talking about. It was amazing. I mean, I forget which, like, I felt like we played a great show. We got a great response. It was awesome. I don't know. It was just an awesome time.
Yeah. So we got to do that jam in the van thing also.
Yeah.
That was fun.
Oh yeah, I saw. Yeah, that's it. I'm curious. So is that something that y'all were approached about, or is it kind of like I don't know anything about getting on festival bills, and to see y'all on one of the most prolific new festivals of this decade is astounding.
Yeah, honestly, sometimes I feel like a lot of that stuff it's like a whirlwind when you look back at it. I feel like we obviously we knew the festival was going to happen. We had an idea of what Jam in the Van is, but to be completely fair, I had no idea what that meant. So we just show up to a van, and then all of a sudden they're just like, "All right, you guys, like, here's a beer, set up all your stuff. You guys want to just make sure to smoke a lot of weed, so it's cool." And we're just like, "What? All right, like." And then they just put a camera in your face and they start playing.
You'll see we have this tray of delights here that are all formed into the shape of a K, a C, or an M. And you know what that means. So pick yours, pair it with your beer, and then go.
Pretty much, yeah. And it was just like, they just, for them, it was just like, see how weird it can get and fun. And we were hanging out with their friends, so we were down.
And to get more into the songs, it's really hard to pick a favorite song. I'm part of the Musics app, which is just like an app where people just share. It's literally an app where people just share songs they really like. And when Interloper came out, I was like, I think my comment on it was like, I don't know, I can't pick a song. So here's the first one, and then here's the last one, because I like it's all great. Just go listen to the whole record. But
that's a good idea.
Yeah, well, I'm partial to the name of the last track.
Oh yeah, you are.
But so the last track is called Redhead, and I was reading the lyrics, which thank y'all for including an insert of the lyrics with the record. I love when bands do that, or artists do that. Is the song about death is it about the death of a close friend or family
It's about
member?
about one of our bandmates' mother passed away, and he wrote the lyrics and the song for her.
It's a beautiful song. It's a
a
beautiful
very
way
beautiful
to
song.
end the album.
I also think that we also, as a band, kind of explored musical terrains we had never done before. Just because the song is so vulnerable, I feel like we all went into it to try to make sure that our friend's song could be as amazing as it could potentially be. You know what I mean? And it kind of opened doors for us, I think.
Talk more about that, opening doors and such.
Well, I just think that like sometimes people can be maybe there can be an ego involved, like I want my part to shine, or I want like to sound cool, or I want all these things. And I think that sometimes maybe when you all really are able to come together and kind of drop that for a greater cause, you pull into parts of you, into a subconscious that I think it has a much richer source of inspiration and potential at that point. And we were able to.
It's a wonderful tribute.
I think so too. Yeah.
Well, so you talk about, ego and stuff, and the whole album seems to be a kind of new venture for y'all. I mean, I feel like between Adult Fear and this, like Adult Fear is like, yeah, this is one of the best bands in Austin. Go see them every time you can. And then Interloper is like, can I get a rep in here from like Beggars or Sub Pop? Can we get these guys signed up? Like, so I'm curious of how did y'all find that it was very, everyone was able to set aside their egos for this grand execution, or what were there some inner tumultuousness?
Kyle?
I think that it was mostly like I think it's our most collaborative effort thus far, for sure. I think the more time you spend writing songs together, the better you get at writing songs as a unit instead of as an individual, and that ego becomes something that like is it can become like a topic of the song rather than like something that you have to like, I want my part to be heard, or I want to seem cool. It's more that like you're lifting each other up and everything. We on this record, a lot of times like we played things that somebody else wrote, like so like half of the songs have like a different bass player on them. We played like whatever instrument worked best and whichever person could sing it the best, or whichever person, and we kind of like guided each other through writing each part.
That's really cool, because I was going to say, even between the two of you, y'all like both credits on this album are both like bass, organ, some vox and stuff. So is Holy Wave as a unit, is it pretty shifting around of who's playing what?
Yeah, I think sometimes we're all, obviously each one of us has kind of like a specialty in the group, but if for instance Julian the drummer writes a song on guitar, maybe we'll just be like, well, you play guitar and one of us will play drums, just because it's another potential. It's like when you're uncomfortable on your instrument, sometimes it also helps you to be more creative, you have to make up for your shortcomings. So at the end of the day, it could make something that we're all much more excited about. And that's the end of the goal. For us, I think the end of the day is, or the best part of this experience is, if you can write something that you're equally as amazed by, because we're all just in it for that experience of hearing something new and being kind of blown away by music. And we don't want to be out of that process, or we don't want to be left out in that experience as well, with our own music.
Yeah, it's easier to, I think, be a fan of your own music when you detach yourself from like the ownership of it, when it's ours instead of mine,
Yeah, that's sure. Very, very healthy. It's a very healthy approach to songwriting and being.
We've been friends for a long time.
And other parts of life, it's healthy as well.
Yeah. So this Saturday, all this leading up to the levitation session that y'all are doing on Saturday, and if you go to the Levitation website or any of Holy Wave's social media channels, you can find the link to the stream this Saturday. And I like that it's like they're the different tiers of like, you get like a different piece of media depending on, the shirt. The limited edition t-shirt is super cool.
Yeah. Drip Cuts.
Splattered. I'm sorry?
Our buddy Victor from Drippy Cuts did that.
Drip cut.
Drip cuts. Yeah, sorry. Drip cuts. Sorry, Victor.
It's early. It's fine. It's early. I'm curious who did the cover art. I'm going to bring the vinyl back in here for those who are going to be watching the video. Who did this awesome art?
Yeah, it's our buddy Carlton had a friend, and I cannot remember his name right now. But he had just done an album for him, and he pointed us in his direction. And Julian, our drummer, got in contact with him, and he has like a ton of stuff. Maybe if you want, we can send you his information. You can put it on this video, but I just can't remember his name right now.
Yeah, we'll totally get that in the credits. So I'm curious, are any of y'all living together, or all there are 5 or 6 of y'all in the band? 5 of y'all, is that right?
There's 4 of us. There's 5 of us. We're kind of like, there's one of our dudes moved to our like bass player basically moved to Sweden a few years ago. Our friend Dylan had been filling in for a while with us, but in Austin, like from the original squad, there's just 4 of us.
Okay. So I'm curious how the levitation session is what can people expect? How is that executed when y'all are all in different spaces?
Well, we did it all in one like giant room that they have. We have a rehearsal space at the Mosaic.
Oh, of course. Yeah. Mosaic Sound Collective. Yeah.
They have a giant room. Stuart Sullivan from Wire. Mm-hmm. He has like a giant room for tracking in there. And we were able to like all be in the same room together, but be like socially distanced and stuff. So it was really cool.
Yeah, what was that experience like playing music? I assume probably the first time that y'all have done anything like that. Is that a dog? Is that your dog?
Yeah, he's getting all up in my business right now. And it was strange. It's strange having like a bunch of people try to get together to work on something with you, and everyone's kind of wearing masks, and it gives it kind of a sterile feel, which is kind of weird when it comes to music.
So especially with this album specifically.
Yeah, but we're so comfortable with each other that it was easy for us to just kind of like, I think, kind of get out of that mind frame and just enjoy each other's company and have fun playing music together. And we were far enough that I don't think we felt like we were being irresponsible or anything like that. And we had a good time. Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, and how have y'all been? How have the last 4 months been for y'all personally, and readjusting to, I mean, this new life and the new reality of live music?
It's ups and downs.
Yeah.
I think there's days when I'm terrified of the future of music and my choices, and like, should I just become a teacher or something like that? Or no, like, it's just like, we were talking to booking agents, and they're just like, some, you can tell that they're freaking out too, but some are like, it could be years before touring happens again. It can 90% of all the venues could close, and you're fighting with like bands that are probably bigger than you that are going to get the spots, and I mean, making music is a lifelong thing for us, but when I don't know, there's definitely like worries. There's a lot of worries right now.
Well, going on tour is one of our favorite parts about being in a band. Like, we get closer to each other. We like build our relationship more. We get like a wider perspective on the world from seeing different places, having different experiences. And we had like we were supposed to go on tour in May, and it got rescheduled for July, and then it got canceled. And it's kind of like, we've been pretty positive through this whole thing and been trying to keep working on things, but it's kind of depressing to like just watch one of your favorite things disappear over and over again.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, and here in your own, and the thought of touring, and then I'm sure not only the music venues within our own city, but I'm sure there's plenty of venues across the country that y'all have grown to love and love playing at. And it's like, I feel for all of these bands who are not only getting to tour, but having to like, it's not just beloved venues in Austin, but venues that they have memories of all over the state, all over the country, and outside of the country too. And just having to watch, it's like, you can't do anything about it. I was going to ask, have y'all toured internationally?
Yeah, we've been to Europe 4 times, in South America.
Hell yeah.
Well, I was going to say that, speaking of the touring thing, another element I don't think Kyle touched on was, when we were actually in France last time, we played a music festival, and we were leaving the venue, and there was like these long tunnels that kind of led you out of the venue. And it was a festival, so Jason Pierce from Spiritualized was there, and he was just like walking next to us, and we were like kind of like, oh man, like, how you doing, sir? Like, you're a legend. And he was just like, you know, how long you boys been on tour? We're like 2 months or something like that. He's like, how you feel? We're like, pretty tired. He's like, well, you need to start doing something better then, because this is where you become great. He's like, the studio is one thing, but being on tour, playing every day, it hones your skills in a way that, as a musician, that is like where you reach your Super Saiyan mode, because you're playing every day. You're having to make modifications to a set. You're getting good at reading each other on stage, to where you can say like, hey guys, let's play this twice as long. You can just look at each other and know before you say anything. It's just like you do reach this level, and that's like one of those things that the only musicians that tour will understand, that level of comfortability and like pliability and expression on a live stage. Like when you do it that many times in 1 month or two, you know?
Yeah, of course.
I miss that for sure.
Yeah. What's the longest that y'all have ever toured in one stint?
I think we did a European tour. It was like 50 something days straight, pretty much.
Oh my gosh.
That was one of the weirdest moments of our lives for sure.
That's so awesome. Well, I just want to remind everyone that, again, this Saturday is the latest levitation session with Holy Wave, and you can go to Levitation website, any of Holy Wave social media, and then wherever you're watching this interview right now, we've got the link. We've got the link for you there of how to catch the stream. And again, whatever level you decide to purchase your stream at comes with anything from a cassette to a t-shirt to that really cool limited edition splattered signed vinyl, which is really cool. And I am personally going to be jealous of everybody who owns that, but that's fine. And gosh, Ryan and Kyle, thank you guys so much for joining me this morning.
Thank you so much for having us. Also, $1 of all the, or I think it's just to stream it. It's just $3, but $1.50 of that, or $1 goes to Austin Justice Coalition.
Hell yeah!
So, you know, that's a good way to spend your money.
It's a very good way to spend your money. Kyle and Ryan, thank you guys so much for being here with us today. My name is Taylor Wallace, and we're hanging out with Holy Wave. Interloper is out now. You can get it at many record stores across, support local businesses. Get it at Waterloo. Get it at Breakaway. Wherever you want to spend your local monies.
Yeah,
thanks, Taylor.
Awesome. Thanks so much.